December I used you, and December was like 4 times what I made in any other month last year.
Okay. So is it possible to get booked up 3 months in advance in a small town? Because to be honest, I get a lot of people who reach out to me and say, "Hey, Jake, can you even help me? I'm in a small town," and so that's why I want to bring Harmony on here today. Hey Harmony, I'm very excited to have you. I know you've got a great story, a lot of great tips for the listeners and viewers of this. So if you can just, real quick introduce yourself and then we'll dive in.
Thanks for having me, Jake. My name is Harmony. I am a permanent makeup artist in a small town, population about 10,000 people. I started my journey in 2016. And when I started, I actually had to fly to Toronto, which is 2 provinces away, for school because nobody did it, nobody taught it and stuff. So it was quite new. And here I am a lot of years later, 7 years later, I guess, or six, yeah, 6 or 7 years later. And I'm booked about 3 months in advance, finally. For a while, I just did it part time on the side of my corporate job, but now I'm finally just doing this, and it's really nice.
So when you started in permanent makeup in 2016, was your goal to eventually, become full time and get out of your corporate job?
So, yes and no. I am what I like to call a realist, which actually means like not very optimistic. So I worked corporate, but I really wanted to be able to make a go of permanent makeup being my full time gig. But because I worked in a small town, I kind of just assumed that it was never going to happen for me. I thought that maybe I would get lucky if I had, 5 clients a month kind of thing. So I always had this mindset that I had to move to a bigger city to be able to make something like this happen. And my goal was to just do permanent makeup because that is my passion and
Hmm.
get out of the banking world, but I really didn't think it was possible. So,
Well,
but it is.
that's awesome to hear. So I guess like, from 2016 to, let's go 2021, like through 2021, what kind of marketing did you try and how many clients were you getting per month?
So 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2020, I just had a Facebook account. So I did all of my own, I wouldn't even call them ads. I boosted posts and Facebook actually flagged a lot of them because they were like, oh, you can't show before and afters and stuff. So I ran into a lot of issues there. For a while there, you couldn't select your own targeting, things like that. I didn't have an Instagram because Instagram, I don't know, I didn't think it was a thing, like that big of a thing. So I just had Facebook. I boosted posts and I probably got, 1 or 2 clients a month. And I thought that that was my cap. I thought that being in such a small town that, everybody who was going to be able to hear about me had already heard about me. So
And so I know that when we were talking offline earlier, you mentioned that's one of the reasons you, hesitated to hire me is because you're in a small town. You thought that I might not be able to help you.
yeah, I did a lot. So like I said, I only got Instagram in 2020, and when I did, that's when I found you. Everybody was talking about you. So I followed you for what is that, a year and a half before I decided to go ahead and hire you. It's been very much worth it. Very much worth it. In a small town, I really like because I messaged you when I first messaged you. I said that I didn't know if it's gonna work. Like, can you even help me? That's literally what you introduced this video as, is
Yeah.
exactly what I said to you. I said, can you even help me? I'm in a small town kind of thing. Like, I thought this only worked for someone in a big city where they had, hundreds of thousands of people to target. Well, I have 10,000 in my city at the most. That's at the
Hmm.
most. That's when it's booming. So we're looking realistically actually more at like 8,000
Yeah.
normally. But yeah, I was just so worried that like, is this even going to be worth it, or am I going to get like, 2 clients a month, 4 clients a month kind of thing? So I was pleasantly surprised.
So if you could go back and, I don't want to sound like Captain Obvious, but if you could go back and say like, when you first saw me, what would you tell your previous self? Would you say sign up now or like what would you say?
Yeah, I'd say just do it. Just do it. Don't even hesitate. Just do it. I'm actually really mad that I didn't know about you in like 2016 or 2017 or 2018 because I actually I left for about a year and a half to go teach at a beauty school thinking that the grass was greener on the other side, right? And I was in a city. I was in a bigger city And I was like, okay, I'm going to get a lot of clients here. Well, the market was already so saturated, and then I still wasn't doing anything for advertising. So, of course, I didn't do it well at all. Right. So, I moved back right after the pandemic started. And I decided, you know what, this has to work at this point. So, I decided just to kind of dive into it, and no jobs were really opening up, picking like hiring their people again and stuff. So I was like, well, this is my only bread and butter, so I have to make it work. And then I was really busy actually when I first moved back in June, and I think that that's why I hesitated. But I had created no, I don't think I created ads. I think I boosted posts, and I was so busy in June, didn't know what I was doing. I just hit boost post, right? And then take my money. So I sent those out, and I had a really busy first month back open, second month back open, and then it kind of started to trickle down. And then Christmas was hard because you know you have to buy Christmas gifts. But I was like, oh, it'll pick up, it'll be fine. I'm not gonna hire this Jake guy quite yet, right? And so next year rolls around, 2021, and I'm still kind of having those months where it's like 1 month I would make $1,000. I'm like, this doesn't even pay my regular bill. This is not going to work. But then I would have a couple good months and stuff, but there was no consistency. So it got to the point where sometimes like I didn't have anything in my pipeline at all. I had
Mhm.
no clients for, 2 weeks, and I'm sitting there freaking out, like, how am I going to put food on the table kind of stuff. So it took me too long. So yes, long story short, I would go back and smack myself and be like, hire him and hire him now.
And I wish I could say that to so many people because, just like you, I have people that have been watching me for years and they're just, scared to make a decision, scared to sign up, scared it's not going to work out, all that stuff. And, the longer they procrastinate, they're just wasting opportunity.
It's so true. Like the money that I've lost, like I'm just going back and like thinking about all the money that I could have made. I could have been a year and a half ahead of where I'm at right now, right? Like I'm already looking at like potentially opening up my own place shortly, hopefully.
Mhm.
But I could have been doing that mid 2020. I could have been doing that December 2020, right? Like if
Right.
I would have just done it. So I feel like time is something you never get back, right? So
Yeah.
especially like as a solo PMU artist, I rent my time for money. So lost time is lost money, right? So I just feel like you're just do it.
So I get a lot of people who ask, how long does it take to see results? And honestly, like I can't sit there and tell them exactly because it kind of varies for everyone. So like I like to just get
Yeah.
actual real facts and numbers. So for you, how long did it take you to see one leads and two actual paying bookings?
So I think that because I know that it can take a while, I was expecting it to be like 2 weeks kind of thing before I saw any real customers that weren't tire kickers and like real leads and real booked appointments. But I had appointments on the first day, like within hours of your ad out. I would say to anybody, don't expect that. I am one of the there's, I think, one other permanent makeup artist in my small town right now. So the options are very limited. I don't have a lot of immediate colleagues in my area. I don't
Mm.
really like to call them competition, but colleagues in my area. So I find that I had really good results really quickly. It took me, I've been working with you for 6 months now, and it took me, I'd say till about month four to be booked out about 2.5 to 3 months.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like everybody wants like 50 bookings the first month, but it's a process because
yes.
as you've seen, it's not just about the ads. It's also about all the
Hmm.
bonuses I provide, like teaching you how to respond to leads and all that stuff. What can you tell them
Exactly.
about that material?
So you have that really good accelerator program that I am still working on because myself and time management do not get along very well. So I'm still working on your accelerator program. It is very long, which is a great thing because it's got a lot of good information on there, right? There's a lot of like even videos with you talking to other artists and like their advice on what's worked for them and stuff like that. And like stuff like branding. Like there's just so much good stuff in there. So that really helps. And then there's a bunch of like, sales templates and stuff like that, which I mean, I feel like if you just jumble them around a little bit, and if you say them enough, they don't sound like you're speaking like a robot. It's if you're reading it off that piece of paper for the first time ever that you feel like you sound like a robot. So just, I don't know, just know that you can make it your own. So that stuff is great. Even the way you update me with the ad changes and stuff, like on a weekly basis. Like sometimes it's like Sunday at 6 p.m., which is like, who works then? You do.
Yeah.
They're like, "Yeah, I'm just updating your ad," and I'm like, didn't know it was doing bad, but or it was doing so good. Why are you changing it, kind of thing. But and then even with your service, like I'm getting people that are booking in still today that I've been saying like I've been seeing your ads for months and I finally decided to do it. So like I think a huge part of this is consistency. Like just
Yeah.
keep it out there. I know that for you because I got so busy so quickly, we did do a promo at the beginning. And it didn't take long before I was like, stop, take it off. Like I
Yeah.
can't keep up with these messages and these bookings and stuff. And I really like that it's slowed down to a comfortable level now. But yeah, I would say there's a lot of good information with what you get when you're hired, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
I know a lot of marketers, especially in this industry, kind of force artists to do a huge discount or anything. Did you ever feel like I forced you to do a discount?
no, like even there was a form you sent me and it said, do you want to do some sort of a discount or a deal or promotion? And if so, please specify what you would like to do.
Yeah.
So I did $100 off because I was like, at this point, with I'm hiring you with the last $500 that I have in my bank account. Like I have no other option, so I need to make sure that I'm going to get a client, kind of thing. So I I get lots of messages and leads with no promo, and it's just like your ads, like your copy, the pictures that you use. Sometimes you use your own videos because I'm terrible at. I should not run a business. I need to just work for myself. Like have a boss, have a CEO up top of me, and then just do the job. So I'm bad at all this stuff. But so because I don't do videos and stuff, like you have videos that you'll plop in there at no cost or anything. You're right,
Mhm.
right? You're just like, let's see how this goes, and I'm like, okay, cool, thanks.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay, so we don't have to, talk specific numbers because obviously that's your business, but just based on percentages, how much have you made this year percentage wise versus last year?
So last year, okay, this year I've already made what just about what I made all of last year.
Wow.
But keep in mind that December I used you, and December was like four times what I made in any other month last
Mm,
year.
okay.
So my December was really, really, really high. So take out December, and I've already made more than what I made last year without working with you. So
Okay. And for
been
those
off.
watch, like I know a lot of these videos stay on YouTube forever, and so we're at the end of May right now, and so that's the first 5 months of the year. You've already made more than what you made back in 2021.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Congrats on
Yes.
that.
Thank you. It's crazy. And that's like even like factoring in, people say, "Oh, well, you made more, but you had more expenses and stuff." Well, my expenses aren't permanent makeup artists know the expenses that go into it. So they haven't changed drastically. And the cost of your marketing isn't enough to offset the difference in profits that I've made at all. So,
Yeah, and I feel like people think about that in such backward terms because, marketing is a tax deduction, a tax write-off. I know it is for the US. I'm assuming it is in Canada too.
yes,
Okay.
you betcha.
So, that one, it's not, you're not quote losing that full amount of money or you're not using that full amount of money. It's depending on your tax bracket and stuff like that. It's usually like around, less than 20%. So I kind of think of it as like any business expense that I do, I'm getting like a 20 to 30% discount on that. Not to mention you're using it to build your long-term, business and brand, something that, you know, I always tell people the bills don't stop coming. You're still going to have to pay rent whether you have someone there or not, and so you got to get your bookings up.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. Like, the biggest expenses that I have are write-offs, number one, and they don't change whether I'm making $500 a month or I'm making, $10,000 a month. My expenses for those, like the big expenses, don't change. It's just my supplies, which is, it comes with the territory, right? So,
Right, and you're not spending like a ton of money on ads either. Like you don't have to spend thousands of dollars on ads to get these kind of results. You're spending
yeah,
what, like $10 a day.
yeah. So I spend $315 a month Canadian. So that would be like 250 a month US
Right.
probably. And so like I feel like those who aren't, maybe getting a lot of leads if they're already using your services, like up your budget
Mhm.
kind of thing. Like I mean the ad spend I know does go based on like what category you're competing in too, right? Like if someone else is using an ad service and they're, sending it out to all of your same targets, right? Like you're going to be competing, so your ad spend is going to be higher and stuff. So just like increase your ad spend. Like if I had to, if I slowed down because someone else in my city decided to start running ads with my target audience and stuff, I would just increase my ad spend.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I mean, it's not much. It's not like I'm spending $5,000 a month on this, right? So
Yeah, that's a great point because, the money you pay for marketing, besides being a tax write-off, you're making that back in one or two clients.
exactly, yeah, most definitely. Like I'm frugal, so let's keep it as cheap as possible. But if it's not working, well, I'm
And
not afraid to up it.
yeah, and I loved what you said earlier when you were like, could I try to figure out Facebook ads myself? Maybe, but I enjoy delegating and drinking my margarita on the porch.
Yes, that is my jam. I don't okay. If it weren't for you, I probably wouldn't be doing this anymore, to be honest, because I probably would have given up and gotten another job instead
Mhm.
of, there's so much stuff on the internet. You can literally learn how to do anything on the internet. Do I
Yeah,
want to? No. I feel like my brain is going to explode. I feel like I've learned so much in my life because I've done corporate jobs. And then even for running my business, I did everything myself the hard way, right? You wear so many hats in this industry, like it hurts your neck after a while.
yeah,
So
I
like
love that.
I could do Facebook ads. I totally could. Do I have time for that? No. I could make time if I'm losing sleep or and I that's just it. Is like I'd rather be sitting on my deck drinking a margarita at 4 o'clock on a Friday instead of, sitting there messing with ads that's gonna take me 3 hours, which would take somebody else 15 minutes. You know what I mean? Like it's just I would much rather delegate the things that stress me out so that I don't wanna quit and so that I don't get burnt out because I've been burnt out before and it sucks.
Yep.
But yeah, like we do so much, right? We message clients and we have to post on Instagram and Facebook and we have to think of captions to post. Like now there's tools for that even, like hook me up. And then
Yeah, and
um
I mean, I'm all about working smarter, not harder. Like I even tell you guys, like you don't have to post on Instagram every single day.
exactly. Definitely. And that's just it, is like I feel like especially recently the algorithm seems to have changed. Like all of a sudden I've got 30 followers in a week and I haven't posted anything.
Yep.
I don't know where they're coming from, kind of thing.
Yeah, probably the
Probably from your
ads.
ads,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah, that's true. And then, but yeah, like I probably post, once or twice a week, and it's good to stay relevant. But at the same time, I'm not going to go posting stuff that isn't related to my niche and isn't going to be not even entertainment for my target market. Like I just before and after photos, they're great. They're awesome. People love seeing their friends and stuff on there or someone they know. And sometimes people love seeing themselves, not often. But sometimes people love seeing themselves on there. But like, I'm not going to go and do a TikTok dance that has nothing to do with what I'm doing, right? Like, you can go to my Instagram and you can go to my Facebook as a client and you can find everything you're looking for. There's no need to keep doing that. Like, I stay relevant and I'll post, once a week probably, but that's about my max. That's about my max. I was so exhausted having to post every day and have this app to schedule it and then batch stuff for a month in advance kind of thing. It was just too much. And then trying to boost my own posts. Who does that?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, like then you're talking to people and you're talking to clients and, it's a, Wednesday night at 8 o'clock and that's when all your messages flood in. So you're already doing that, right? You're messaging clients and then you're doing your accounting and then you're doing your bookkeeping and then you're doing your supply ordering and your inventory and like it's just never ending, right? So if I can pass on a lot of that stuff, I know that I can do this and love it and not do it and it feel like a job. The moment this feels like a job, I don't want to do it anymore.
Yep, exactly.
So
And it kills me that there is like a subsection of this industry that thinks that like twerking and dancing like equates to business expertise or confidence or whatever. Like I just
yeah,
that's not my style. I mean, good for them if
no.
they want to do it to get attention, but I just
Yeah,
you can grow a business without, acting like a fool.
definitely. And like I like posting sometimes like funny reels if it's
Mhm.
informative to
Right.
my clients
Yep.
because it also shows my personality
Mhm.
because I'm kind of a weirdo. So at least it kind of like tells my future clients like this is me, this is who I am, this
Right.
is what I'm like kind of thing. So I feel like that for me is okay
Mm.
because people get like if you read any of my reviews on like Google or Facebook, it's like, oh my God, Harmony's the best. She's so funny. And I'm like, not. I'm really just weird. But so it's nice to be able to like display that on
Right.
Instagram and Facebook in that way. But I don't want to, like if I don't twerk on a regular basis, why would I? Not that that's bad. I mean, to each their own if you want to
Mhm.
do that. But that's just not, I would rather just put out what I need to put out and what's educational and informal and relates to me, right? Because when someone's scrolling my page, they want to know what I'm like, right?
Right.
Because the thing is like the market is saturated, right? So people don't just choose you based on your work or your prices. They choose you based on whether they know you or whether they like you, kind of thing, which is good because I like to say that I would like to do that too, like as a client. Like if I'm gonna go to get Botox, well, I'm not just gonna go to someone because they're I see their logo on a building, right? Like I'm gonna do research first, and if someone is relatable to me, I'm more likely to go to them. So
Yeah. And like I mean I even teach on the accelerator to show your personality and like be relatable with
yeah,
people, and like I teach don't be a robot, and so I
yes,
love that you're able to still do those funny videos and stuff. I think my point was that just like, I think a lot of people got intimidated by whether it's Instagram Reels or TikTok because they felt like they like were forced to do some kind of funny dance or something that they're not comfortable with. And
yeah.
so the key is to being able to show your personality and really shine to your clients without, forcing yourself to do something that's not you.
Yeah, well, and it's so true, like, even me, like, I slowed down on my social media the last few months because I kinda got just overwhelmed with it, trying to keep up with all the trends and all the new sound bites and this new,
Yeah.
transition that you have to do that has nothing to do with permanent makeup, and I'm like, "Why am I stressing over this?" Like, "Why am I making it seem like I have to do these things and putting all this pressure on myself to make time for this reel? It's not gonna get me any clients," you know what I mean? So, I just felt like the people who are gonna see my personality through the reels that I make and the photos that I do and stuff are my target audience anyways. So I don't feel the need to have to, you know, if you have all the time in the world, by all means, have at her. I do not.
it,
So, like when I'm away on a long weekend, my phone is off. That's the last thing I want to be doing, kind of thing. But some people, that's what they like to do, and I'm a millennial, so I grew up without cell phones, kind of thing. We had
yeah.
phones, and then when caller ID was a thing, it was like, oh my gosh, what is this sorcery? But I would rather it's great for business now, but if I could just disconnect on weekends at least, I'm all for it.
Yeah, and that's the beauty about advertising is you don't have to post every day. The ads are running for you. They're getting attention for you. They're getting that engagement for you. You don't
Yeah.
have to sit there and try to create it organically. Which, as we all know, the algorithm kind of sucks now, and so organic reach is down like 50 to 100% from last year.
Yep. I don't have that many followers on Instagram, but I had like a fraction my last post that I posted, I had like just a small fraction of people see my post and I'm like, this is crazy. I have a couple thousand followers and I had 50 views or 200 views kind of thing. And then I had 12 likes. It's like, what?
Yeah,
So stuff like that makes me just not want to post, which is fine because I'm still getting leads and messages for my ads. So
yeah.
I'm okay with it. So,
And that's why I appreciate you coming on here and sharing your success story because I'm trying to get more people who are on the fence, and like scared to invest in marketing. I'm trying to make sure they realize that without advertising, they're not going to be able to survive this year. They're not going to get
exactly.
clients, and it's only getting worse. They have to do
It
ads.
is. Yeah. And then, like, with all the algorithms constantly changing, like, you can't rely on them. Like, just when you learn something, that's when it changes, right? Or when you think you learned something. But it's all it is just like, oh, I assume it's this, or I assume this is how it works because this is, trial and error and worked for me kind of thing. So, I mean, nobody really knows, kind of.
And
Because
and
I
that's
feel
the
like what Instagram tells you is
right.
not right. So,
And that's the thing, like we mentioned earlier about, people can go on YouTube and learn Facebook ads, but the thing is, like, there's not much on there about permanent makeup ads. And even if there was, like, I'm literally learning new things and trends every single week because I have, hundreds of data points to learn from. And so I can catch, like, oh, this is working now, or this is not working anymore. And I can, use it to help you and use it to help my other clients. Whereas if someone's just trying to run their own ads, they're really just, shooting in the dark, hoping they hit something and wasting money.
exactly. Well, and that's just it. Like, I have friends who are marketers. Would I use them? No. Did I say I'm sorry if you get offended? Yeah. Like, I wanna make sure that, like, if I'm gonna hire a marketer, I want them to be able to market what I'm selling, not
Yeah.
just generalized marketing, you know what I
Mm.
mean? And like even so where I rent a room from in a salon right now, the owner of that salon took marketing 20 years ago and it is nothing like what it is right now, right? So
No.
you need someone who's going to be in your niche and who's going to be constantly updating their knowledge and stuff because if it's just their side hustle or their not that that's a bad thing either. I feel like I'm gonna offend so many people in this video, but it's not a bad thing if it's a side hustle. But I feel like if it's your full time job, like you spend all of your time researching those things,
Mm.
right? Like it's your specialty. That's like the same thing as so I used to do so many different services. I did microneedling, I did dermaplaning, I did, what else did I do? Body sugaring. I was an artificial nail technician 12 years ago
Mm.
and or 10 years ago. And I've really niched down because I find that I know more now about the things that I do now than a little bit of everything that I did before. Like I felt like I couldn't be an expert in permanent makeup doing all these other things. Like I felt like there was just and some people can, I can't. So I just that's exactly why I would hire a marketer who does permanent makeup and like medi spas, stuff like that. Someone who would be in that general, you know, specialty because otherwise their brain is just they're trying to do too many things for too many people in too many different niches. So
Yeah. And I see that a lot. Like people are like, well, I'm going to hire a local marketer. And then they come back to me, a couple months later and it's, well, that didn't work out at all. I was like, yeah, no surprise. So no surprise on that because they don't specialize in what you do. They're going to give you generic posts. And yes, they know core marketing tactics. But, if they don't have the same experience in your industry as like someone like me does, then it's obviously not going to work as well.
yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so yeah, lots of great info. Thank you for coming on here and sharing. If someone is on the fence about hiring me and they're like, well, I really can't afford it, I just don't have the budget, what would you tell them?
I would say it's a write-off, so at least try it, but when you're gonna try it, you need to try it for 3 to 6 months, and then judge it, and if it's not working for you, which at that point, you're doing something wrong, but if it's not working for you after 3 to 6 months, you can cancel, like, you don't lock anybody into contracts, this is
No.
a month-to-month thing. I remember messaging you when my month was almost up, and I'm like, do I have my next month already? Like, are you gonna automatically charge me? Because I need you to because I wanna do this again for the next month. Like, please don't let me just fall off kind of thing. And I was like freaking out because I wanted that, security of not having to think about something. So, I mean, I'm on an auto pay, but that doesn't mean that I can't stop anytime. I'm sure I could message you tomorrow and be like, hey, I'm done, but I'm not going to.
I won't let
But
you. I'm just kidding.
yeah, well, exactly. And so, yeah, no, I just feel like just try it for like 3 to 6 months. The worst that can happen is you don't do the accelerator and you don't know how to talk to clients and stuff. And like, I think that there's also sometimes a miscommunication with this is that they think that you're going to book them appointments, which you don't do. You get them leads, right? And I mean, you're going to get some tire kickers who are just, or some price shoppers and stuff like that. But I mean, you can even convert those to people if you want to or not, which is cool. You don't want them anyway.
Yeah.
So
I love what you said on the last coaching call because we had, we do live coaching calls together. Last week you said, even the people that say they accidentally clicked, you're
yeah.
like, yeah, go ahead and tell them about that.
So I've sold so many people who accidentally click on my ads. So they'll click on your ad because they want to zoom in on your picture, right? But it sends them automatically to this message and stuff. And they're like, oops, sorry, didn't mean to click that. And then so I just start having a conversation with it, but a normal conversation. I don't talk to them about browse or like try and sell them on anything. I just start off with like having a normal conversation with them, like, that's okay. I do stuff like that all the time. It's kind of annoying, isn't it? And they're like, yeah, it totally is. And so, like, I just kind of make it seem like, yeah, I know I feel your pain kind of thing. And then I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, this weather is just fantastic, isn't it? Like, I'm drinking on the deck tonight. Like, I sound like an alcoholic. I'm also not an alcoholic, I promise. But yeah, like, so I'll just talk about, and so all of my ads to my small town, everybody knows the one Walmart we have, right? Or like the one blah blah blah. So I'll be like, this one person was like, yeah, no, it was okay. We were just driving, we hit a bump. So I just clicked the button and I'm like, oh, was it on, government and third? Because there's always accidents there. So be careful. I hope you're not the one driving. And they're like, oh my goodness, I know. Like every week it seems like. And then I've converted a lot of those to actual customers. Like they're just like, yeah, for sure. Like, you know what? You're really cool. Do you do like what do you offer? Like, is this a tattoo? Then they start asking me about what I'm doing. So then they come in for a consultation and then they book. So pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's nice to just build that rapport and build that relationship without feeling like I'm trying to sell them something, especially if they accidentally click.
Yeah, that's amazing, and it's a concept I wish I could just like plug into people's brains because 99% of even my own clients, like or other clients, they if someone said they accidentally clicked, they would just either ignore them and say, oh, that was a bad lead, or they would just instantly say, try to sell them, or send them just like some generic information. But if they would just do what you do and just be like a cool person, then you never know where it can lead.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes I'll creep their Facebook profiles too. So like I'll go and see if, maybe their husband owns a construction company in town kind of
Hmm.
thing, or they have purple hair or something, and I'll just compliment them on something like that, or just be like, hey, I'm looking to get my roof done, which I am. Like I would never lie and mislead them, but like I would just like make conversation
Yeah.
not related to my services, and then it builds trust within me, and then it builds kind of like a not so friendship, actual friendship kind of thing. So it just, I don't know. And then I've even a couple people that didn't end up booking because they're not really like they have great brows and they're like, I don't want to change them. I'm like, that's fine. They've sent people to me.
Hmm.
So, they've been like, hey, mom, like this person just said, she seems really nice. You should go talk to her kind of thing. So I've had people book consultations and come in and be like, yeah, my daughter said she was chatting about you or chatting to you about the whole intersection stuff. And I was like, huh, funny. That's awesome. So, yeah.
It's funny because like at the beginning of the interview, you said you're not an optimistic person, but like that's not the vibe I get from you. I get that you are an optimistic person.
I am. I'm I am and I'm not. I'm one of those like introvert extroverts or extrovert introverts
Mhm.
that people say. So like I can be an extrovert and I can be very optimistic, but I'm just shy at first kind of thing. So, but I like hiding behind a computer. Oh, which is another thing, like follow-ups and stuff like that. I'm terrified. Okay, lots of jobs that I've had in sales, right? And I don't like sales. I don't like them. I don't like them at all. I feel uncomfortable. I feel pushy. I feel like I have to like and then any job that I worked at, like the script they give you is just very like salesy. And
Yeah.
I don't want to be salesy. I want to be, personable and I want people to come to me because they like me, not necessarily because they like brows. Just kidding. They need to also want brows. But yeah, so I find that like follow-ups are one thing that I do that's kind of like sneaky is if you get people say you get a lead and it just kind of trickles off and drops off and they just say, "Oh yeah, I'll get back to you," and they never get back to you kind of thing. I'll just pop in there and be like, "Hey, if you're anything like me, I usually read messages and then forget about them and then I just never talk to them again. So I'm just wondering if you're anything like me, if you're still interested. If you're not, that's cool too. Let me know. But also, if you know anyone who can use my services, I would love for you to refer me or refer them to me. So I kind of pop in there and just make it seem like, ha ha ha, I forget about stuff
Yeah.
kind of
Love
thing.
that.
So, and then it seems like you're not, I like it. That's the way I approach it. Like, I know that nobody really, it's not a no until it's a firm no, and that you're supposed to be able to like be very forward, but I'm passive, so I like being forward in a subtle way, in
Hmm.
a sneaky way.
Yeah.
So I like to make it like play it off like I'm not trying to be pushy. I'm just trying to see if, maybe you forgot like I did. I've never had anyone tell me to go away, so we're doing good.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of like when it comes to sales, a lot of people think like, okay, either this person books right now, or they're just a bad lead, or they're a no go, and they just kind of give up on it or write them off.
Yeah.
So I love how you're just you want to just create that connection. If it happens, it happens, but you're not going to be
Yeah.
pushy. But you'll still follow up.
Yeah. Well, and you never know. A lot of the responses that I get too is like, "Oh, my husband just told me that I wasn't allowed to get this done," kind of thing. I get that a lot. And so sometimes they're making up the excuse because they're scared to take the risk, but
Yeah.
then sometimes they actually did get in a fight with their spouse over like the financial aspect. But also you have to understand that like because you're in the industry, but like most husbands or boyfriends, when a spouse tells them that they're getting permanent makeup done, they picture like Oscar or Oscar the Grouch or like Angry Bird, and they think that they're gonna come out of there with like Sharpie looking eyebrows kind of thing. So like I just tell them like if you want them to call me, you know, or, like, at least show them the pictures and, like, show them the before and afters, but show them the afters and say like, show them 3 afters and tell them to pick which ones are tattooed, and they can never get it because they'll pick 1 instead of picking all 3, and it's like, "See? You don't even know the difference," kinda thing.
Right.
And so, I mean, I don't wanna cause any, you know, marital problems or domestic disputes, but, like, if they need a little bit more reassurance and stuff, I'm happy to talk to them.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's just an excuse or it's just an objection, and it's maybe it's not actually about like for example, like if I really don't want to do something, but I don't want to, sound rude, I'll be like, well, let me ask my wife and let me talk to my wife about it, just to kind of put the blame on her
Yeah,
indirectly.
exactly, exactly. So, there's a lot of objections that, like, I get that, you know, can be easily mitigated, but then sometimes you'll get ghosted because some people just don't know how to say no in a nice
Mhm.
way, and they're just like, "I'd rather just not say anything at all," and that's fine.
Yeah, I mean,
I can be like that.
have you ever been injured from someone saying no or ghosting you?
Never. Never, never.
So many people are scared of no, but
Yeah,
no doesn't hurt me.
exactly, exactly. Well, I move on. On to the next one.
Exactly. It's
Yep.
funny because I was actually meeting in person with one of my clients here in Alaska last night. And, we went out to dinner with him and stuff. But her husband was telling me, like, the first time she hired me back in 2019, he was like, she used his credit card. And he was like, who is this PMU marketer for $500 and stuff? And then, now he reaches out to me on Facebook and we're good friends and everything. But it was just kind of funny.
Yeah, yeah, they're always so, like, scared of they're more okay, it's actually funny because husbands and spouses are usually more scared of the risk than you are, but, you know, it's better to ask forgiveness than permission.
Yeah. Especially like if you're listening to this and your husband has no business experience or, no clue about marketing, don't I mean, you got to have mutual respect and stuff, but like don't always take business advice from someone that doesn't have any experience.
Exactly, exactly, and, like, at least convince them that, like, you know, you'll give up your Botox for a month
Yeah.
instead to try it out kinda thing, like, make it a negotiation or, like, you know, explain to them that 1 client will pay for this, right? Like, just there's so many different things and, you know, like I said, I don't wanna cause any domestic disputes, but there's you know, have a conversation about it at least, like, I'm very lucky, my spouse is very supportive, he's very much like, "You do you. Go for it. You're gonna do great.
That's
Love ya."
awesome.
Yeah, he's very fantastic that way. Well, I mean, sometimes I will be, like, hesitating on something like, "No, not right now, maybe," like, he was actually one of the ones where, "Oh, you should try Jake out." And I was like, "No, don't tell me that." So he was pushing me quite a few months before, and it's so funny because I always feel like when I ask him or tell him I'm gonna do something, I feel like he's gonna be like, "No, you're not supposed to, or you shouldn't,
Hmm.
because it's, you know, it's bad," and he never does. So I don't know why I'm so afraid, but yeah, when I was telling him about you and I was following you for a few months before I hired you, he was like, "Yeah, well, why don't you give him a shot? Why don't you try it out? Who are you? Where did I find you?"
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Well, I think this has been very helpful for those, watching or listening. You thought this was just going to be a little short testimonial where it actually turned out to be a very informative video. And so go back and rewatch this and take notes because we got a lot of great tips on here. And, I think if people just like literally do the things that you just said in the past 30 minutes, I think they're going to already see better results in their business. And so I really appreciate you taking the time to share all your tips.
absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. And if they want to follow you, go ahead and tell them your Instagram name or whatever social media you prefer the most.
So my Instagram is at beautyforeverpmu. So BeautyForeverPMU.
Perfect. And I'll include the links below. All right, guys, thanks for watching. And if you have any questions for either one of us, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Thanks.